Hello and welcome back to Bicycle Legs and my very first product review. Today I'm going to be talking about the new Big Train album, Welcome to the Planet. Now I know I'm a little late to the piece as far as reviewing this album goes, but I had to wait until my copy turned up from the UK, and then I wanted to give it a few listens to really sort of get into it and be able to give it a proper review. Anyway, this album was released just 6 or 7 months after their previous album, Common Ground, which was an excellent album in itself. In fact, it was one of my top albums of 2021. This is a relatively short album by Big Train standards. It's only a single album on vinyl. And there's no really long epic length tracks on this album. I think the longest song's about 7 minutes long. There's 9 songs in about 45 or so minutes, as opposed to Common Ground had 9 songs and it was over an hour. So, but still, this is a wonderful album. I really like it, and I would like to just quickly go through it track by track. The first song is called Made from Sunshine. It's a really good up-tempo song. It's the only song that David Longdon, the late David Longdon, has a co-writing credit on. He wrote the lyrics for it. I think that was because apparently he was working on a solo album which was nearing completion before his untimely death. Hopefully, depending on whether they want to or not, we might get to hear some of those songs one of these days, because that would be really lovely. There's lovely brass on this song. Yeah, it's just a beautiful song. Good, typical sort of Big Train song. Beautiful harmonies on it too. The second song is called The Connection Plan. It's written by Nick DiVigilio, and this is an example of where I think Big Train would, with this album, starting to go in some new directions. Because although the instrumentation on this song is very Big Train, it's got the brass and all that sort of thing, musically it sounds a little more like Nick's old band Spock's Beard. I love this song. I think it's really good. Nick does some good backing vocals and stuff on it, and it's a great song. The next song is called Lanterna. It's written by Gregory Sporton. It has that beautiful melodicism that a lot of his songs have. It kicks into gear after a stately sort of intro. And for a relatively short song by Big Train, the lyrics really take you on a journey. The next song is Capitoline Venus, which is also written by Greg. It's a very pretty little song. It's just got David on vocals and keyboards and Greg on 12-string guitar. And it's got, David singing on it is absolutely gorgeous, and Greg's melody is absolutely beautiful. The last track on side 1 is A Room with No Ceiling, which is written by Rickard. It's an atmospheric instrumental. It's another track with a slightly different sound for Big Train, but I think it's great. Rickard's playing all sorts of different keyboard instruments on it, and it's really good. First track on side 2 is Proper Jack Froster, written by Greg Sporton. It's the latest edition in Big Train's winter songs. It's the verses are quite up tempo, then the choruses are sort of half tempo, as is the brass section, but then it goes back into full tempo for guitar and keyboard solo, and then back to half tempo for the last chorus. Love this song. Great Christmas song, great to add to any Christmas playlist that you might have. The next song is called Bats in the Belfry, again written by Nick DiVigilio. It's an instrumental this time. Again, slightly different direction for the band. Nick, as well as playing drums, he plays all the keyboards on this track, so it's a real sort of extravaganza for Nick and for the brass section. Really good song. The next song is called Oakenstone. It's written by, the music is written by Greg, Nick, and Rickard, and the lyric is by Greg, and it's a wonderful, wonderful lyric. It's a very pretty song. David's vocal is especially tender and just beautiful, touching. It's really lovely. And then the last song is Welcome to the Planet, which is written by newcomer Carly Bryant. She sings some vocals on the other tracks too, but this is mostly her singing on this song. It's a really lovely song. It's a little bit somber for the most part, musically that is. The lyric is quite nice. And it's kind of a somber album closer until just before the end, there's this sort of like up-tempo jazzy section. And then it goes back into somber for the last chorus right at the end. Really good song from the sort of relative newcomer to the band. So my final notes on this song is that, on this album rather, is that David was in fine voice in what unfortunately would turn out to be his last album with Big Big Train. And the band sound like they're trying some new directions, and that makes me a bit sad because not because I don't want them to go in new directions. I think the new directions are really great, but it's just so sad that David's not going to be able to go in these new directions with them. I highly recommend this album, not just to current Big Big Train fans, but anybody who's new, curious to the band. This is a really good album to start with. Some of the other albums are probably better albums in my humble opinion, although I love this album. But this is a really good intro to the band, I think, because there's no sort of really, really long epic tracks that might be a little harder for a new listener to take in. You get a flavour of Big Big Train on this album, but you get it in sort of more bite-sized chunks, as it were. If you haven't listened to this album, I strongly recommend you go to your listening app of choice and give it a listen. If you like it, please buy it from the band, because this is an independent band on an independent label. They really could use the funds from actual physical sales, more so than, say, big bands, pardon the pun. So yeah, that's my recommendation. I would give this definitely an 8.5 or 9 out of 10. Wonderful album. Will be very surprised if this doesn't make my best of 2022 list. Please like, share and subscribe. It really helps the channel out. If you're new to the channel, please stick around and watch some of my other videos. I do have a tribute to David on the channel where I talk about probably my favourite Big Big Train album, which is the Underfall Yard. And I've got a lot of other sort of progressive rock content and non-progressive rock content on the channel as well. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at bicyclelegs. On Instagram, I mostly post the albums I'm listening to at the moment. On Twitter, I talk about anything and everything. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.